So I started producing in Haiti when I was maybe like 12 or 13. I guess like the first production was in virtual DJ. So I had mashups, like bootleg mashups I was making. And that's what really taught me about BPM, about instrumentals versus vocals. And so I did a bunch of really bad mashups in the beginning, which eventually led me into Ableton. I love it. It's really versatile. I think it allows me to record things in the moment, which I love. And I use a lot of voice notes in my productions too, so it's really quick to just like drop audio in and use it. This right here, this is the Teenage Engineering OP1 Field. And Teenage Engineering are this company from Sweden that I've been a fan of for so many years. And I feel like this right here is like my secret weapon in the studio because I record the audio of all of these different sounds. And it's just like works, like it doesn't require too much thinking. You can play melodies really quickly. It has a drum like kit, like multiple kits in there. It also has a bunch of synth presets, but it also has synthesizers so you can create your own sounds. So I feel like on the go, which I tend to be quite a bit, it's the best production suite. Like this is like basically all I need when I'm in the studio and then a mic if I'm recording vocals. I'm Michael Brunn. I'm a music producer and DJ from Port-au-Prince, Haiti. And today we're gonna make a compas. So a compas song is a traditional genre from Haiti. It's probably our biggest genre. It's has elements of dance music in a way, like our like Caribbean dance music. But it also has a lot of instrumentation. So sometimes it's guitar, sometimes it's synth, sometimes it's keyboards. One of the really iconic parts of compas is the synth lead solo. So there's like a whole solo section, and also the drum rhythm. So usually I'll start my songs with chords, but I felt like today for the compas, I wanted to walk through the rhythm because I feel like the rhythm is really important to that style of music. So we're gonna build up a compas rhythm right now. You ready? Bayo, bayo. It usually is in the 90-ish BPM range. So we're gonna start with just a metronome. So I can play this. And when you're doing the compas rhythm, what you tend to do is a kata, which a kata is played like as a rim. It's kind of like a rim shot or a hat that goes so basically that, right? The first thing I'm gonna do is this cowbell. So just quantize that. I'm gonna put like a tom. So that's just like on the offbeat for a little bit of rhythm. And now it's like a conga song. So we're just like creating all of the counter rhythms first. And this cowbell needs one more thing. I think like one more hit there maybe. And I just do short loops usually to start so that there's like a nice 4 to 8 bar loop of drums or melody or whatever. And then I'll expand it over time as I arrange the song. But this is basically like giving us the template for what the song is going to be. Turn off the metronome. right, so that's like the outline of the beat. I'm just gonna add the hat now because that's the final part. So it's basically following what the rim is doing here. And this is the open hat, and that's the closed hat. And this is like an alternative, like basically like an in-between hit of the hat. And that's like another angle of the hat. So just for variation, I'm gonna add a little bit of those elements into the hat to make it feel as live as possible. If you have a chance, you would normally record all of this live, but for the purposes of production, usually I'll just like make it in the kit because it's quick. Again, it's so now we got all of the essential parts. So yeah, that has a swing already. It feels like we're in Haiti. We got there. So even with just the drums, I think it's really cool that so many rhythms from around the world have really particular energy without even having melodies, without a bass, without any musical element, just like the pure percussive elements, it already takes you somewhere. So I really love Compas for that. So now that we have this loop, let's come up with some melodies. I really like Mini V just for the bass sounds and like the synth sounds are really great. It's Arturia, but this one's just like a nice sine, like deep sine wave bass that's great. So always, it tends to work with like most tracks. That could be cool. I'll probably do a couple melodies just to see what actually sticks out to me the most. So that's one. Time. Melodic loops or making textures or whatever, like a lot of times you can end up spending hours just like putting a bunch of ideas down and changing them last minute, and I feel like the sooner you can actually commit to a direction, the quicker the song gets done. And I like to make a lot of ideas throughout the day, so it's a big help to just like have audio versus MIDI because it just like locks you in sooner. And what's so cool is that like the preset in the OP1 has the verb and the delay and like all these effects in it. And like sometimes I add to it or sometimes I'll adjust it, but I just really love this, like I really mean it. It's so good, like the quality of the sound is so good out the gate. Like you don't have to touch it, and I think that's part of the reason why I love using voice notes is because a lot of the time I'll record guitars on voice note and drop the audio in, or even vocals, and it doesn't really require much to sound good. I also make sometimes music that's feels a little bit more raw, so that tends to align with like the production style. But I feel like if you know the music that you're making is supposed to feel a little bit more raw, it's actually good to process it less, because the alternative is to like go through all the processing route and eventually you're gonna end up in iPhone sound anyway. So I always just try to get the quickest like to the actual vibe of the song that I'm trying to create. So and then I feel like even just the bass and the melody alone, it gives me like a emotion and energy. And then the drums. So now I gotta put some like texture sounds, like some, details. So let's see what we can find. So like, yeah, that's cool. So that's just an art from OP1. Whoops. And I think this sound, since it's like really plain sound, maybe I can like affect this a bit more. So my go-to verb plugins and delay plugins is Valhalla. I think they're amazing. They're super inexpensive as well. I feel like it's like the best value for plugins if you're looking for like just any affecting plugins, and specifically Valhalla, delay, and vintage verb. Highly recommend. Shout out Valhalla. They're amazing. That was cool. Just like a little texture. So this effect I just put kind of like slightly delays it, maybe like a couple milliseconds, so I have to push the whole audio forward a little bit so it's like in beat. So let's see if we can find one more layer for the melody. It's a cool like pad thing. And again, this is like OP1, just like literally preset out the gate. Sounds crazy. So So this has kind of like a long tail. So what I'm gonna try to do, I'm gonna try and play this, even though it has this long tail and it's a little messy, and then I'm gonna chop it. So let's see. I'm gonna turn off the synths and stuff, and the bass. And I'm just gonna try and play it without them. Ableton has this feature, if you go to beats mode, you can like make it do these weird randomized kinds of chops with audio. So let's see what it sounds like. It might sound like trash, but let's see. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's actually not bad. So yeah, I like just added some reverb and filter to it to just give it like a little bit more like bigger feel, like it's like in a room or an arena or something. That plucks on. I'm also gonna octave it up because I feel like a blend of the octave with the lower one will give it more presence in the mix. So honestly, like that right there, if I was in the studio with an artist that was gonna cut a vocal, that's probably where we would already reach for the vocal to start. I wouldn't add too much more. I feel like when you're working with somebody, which this kind of music, like generally you'll have vocals on it. It doesn't always have to have vocals, but it's like a collaborative effort. And I love working with people in the room too. So that's the point where I would be like, hey, you getting the vibe? You like it? No. If not, make another one. But this would be like the foundation of the song. Like basically at this point it's just like arrangement, details, but you have chord progression, the rhythm, you have texture, right? And at that stage, that's where I would want to add the vocal and then a hook lead. But for this video, I feel like we can experiment a little bit more with the production. And there's still the synth solo that I feel like we could try some ideas. And I have to add one other element in this that's a very classic Haitian sound. So we use guitar, like a very specific type of guitar in Haitian compa. And there happens to be a synth that does that. So this is a contact pack by Compa Synth XV Compa that a friend put me on. It's really dope. Jay Duff, I think is how you say your name. But I guess he created the synth. It's amazing. And it has a great compa guitar sound, which is very traditional compa vibes. And we can find a way to incorporate it. Let's see. So when I make melodies, like hook melodies, I tend to sing them. Because like if I can't sing it, it probably means people can't sing it. So like I try to make melodies that people would subconsciously, like in the shower, they'd sing. Or like they're walking in the street and then it like comes to their head and it's something like either they can whistle or they can just hum. So while I'm playing this right now, I'm just like thinking of what is a hummable melody on top of this. So I'll put that down. So like the. So okay, at least the first part of that is cool. And now, just try to think about space, because we have a melody happening for this whole section, but I wonder if there's like a way to make it more open. So maybe like without that first note, maybe. Just so that there's like a little bit of variation to the rhythm. Maybe. So that's gotta be moved a little bit here. Maybe a harmony on it too. Let's see. So I'm just figuring out what the harmony is on this, but. Alright. I feel like right now, this is pretty much a compa. We got it. So the drums will come in here. We'll start the song with the bells. Break like a chorus coming a little bit later. That feels nice. That feels nice. So we have, at this point, we have like the basic outline of what would be an intro, a verse, getting into a pre-chorus, and like a post concept. And all basically in that, just like 20 minutes. So I feel like we, at this stage, would be able to come up with a bunch of ideas on that. It would just be looking for lyrics that really feel like what the emotion of this is, which to me feels like a bit nostalgic, maybe a bit romantic. But the last thing, I feel like I should record a voice note just for the drums, just to give it like even more live feel. I like to just have some kind of vocal on it. So let me see yeah, so I think I'll just do that. Super rough, but the whole point is you chop it, you add it to the beat, and it just gives you additional texture. So I'm just like quantizing it now, specific to the rhythm I was hearing in my head. Yeah, nice. And I'll just add a EQ. So far I haven't used a single EQ, but I use Pro Q. That's like usually like FabFilter. It's really great. But I'm just gonna cut out a little bit of the low end from the voice note because it picks up a lot of room noise. But because I really just want the top of that. Yeah, I'm just gonna use the first half of this loop on there. And that's a compa. So I feel like I would make in a day probably like 3 of these, 4 of these, different chords, different bass patterns, different elements of the drums that I'm adding, subtracting, whatever it is. But the whole idea is just get whatever's in my head out as quickly as possible. Don't put too much pressure on it. Don't think about like, oh man, this is the one. Like this is the one that's really gonna be big. Like it's just more about that's the vibe I'm feeling in the moment. Maybe the artist I'm with, or if I'm singing myself, or whatever it is, right? Like maybe the person that I'm working with that day loves this, or they're like, I want to try a different thing. But there's no pressure, right? Like you're just like creating, and then a lot of the times I'll like make, 500, 600 of these, And then I'll go back and I'll be like, that one was really good. Let me go back to it. And I date my beats. So like when I'm making a beat, I'll just call it like, today's July 18th. So I'll call it July 18th, 2024. And then that will remind me, oh yeah, I was at the studio and we made this thing and it felt like that emotion. And even if I like literally take this exact same melody and beat and everything, but then I flip the genre or something, at least it's here. So yeah, this is like a very traditional, classic compas sound. I hope you learned a little bit about Haiti, about Haitian culture, and it's not that bad. It's not too hard. So the OP1, very useful tool. I use it as a MIDI keyboard. I use it as a synthesizer. I used Mini-V for the bass, and then some voice note stuff, and the lead. And so I think that with all of this, it's like, what, this is 19 tracks. So including a group, so it's 18 tracks. And I think that's all you need to get the basic outline of your song. So I hope it inspires you. And if you do make a compa, send it to me, I want to hear it.